Kirk Duckwell here with Mastermind the Market, your real estate stats for the Twin Cities area. Well, this is not a crash. What do I mean by that? Well, I was talking with my business partner as we were preparing for our company meeting, and we've both been, seeing on the national news, local news, stories about real estate slowdowns. You can hear things like crisis or catastrophe, things like that. But when you actually dive into the news in the real estate circles, what we are seeing, as I've mentioned in the past, is more of a normalization. And let's get into exactly where we are right now and what kind of market we really are in. All right, first off, looking at the showings per week per listing, median sale price range, 250 to 500K, Minneapolis-St. Paul area. Yeah, seeing a little bit of a slowdown there. We were at a 4.08. Then it went down to 3.89, now down to a 3.79. Not a crash, a typical slowdown for this time of year. You can see last year, a little build up to 4th of July and then slowed back down. But yeah, I mean, this is a normal slowdown. Now, granted, things were faster in 2021. There's no doubt about it, but we're going to take a look at 2019, which is a much more normal year. But the slowdown we're seeing is typical for this time of year. Slowdown in showing activity from a couple weeks ago, but just week over week had picked back up slightly. So it was a 33.90 down to 22.30, back up to a 27.90. Now this is in comparison to last year's 34.74. All right, couple other notable data points here. Looking at new listings into the market, this is going into the 4th of July weekend. Big drop off there. Not a big surprise though, who's going to put their home on the market. Typically the week of 4th of July, not nearly as many people. Pending sales relatively level at 238 down to 231. This is slower than last year though. As I mentioned, last year wasn't quite a normal year. It was at 1663. And that inventory of homes started to outpace last year at a faster pace. We are now at 8209 in comparison to last year's 7477. Interest rates did jump back up a little bit. Again, this is with points. Was it a 5.30 up to a 5.51? And looking at where rates are as of today, things look relatively flat. That is with points though, so you want to talk to your loan officer. So we are seeing rates closer to 6% without points. That's for a 30-year mortgage. Now, for a 15-year mortgage, you can expect rates closer to 5%, 7.1 at 7.1 ARM at 4.875, 10-year, again, closer to 5%. So talk to your loan officer about that. Now, one thing I want to talk about here real quickly is kind of longer term history with interest rates. If I look back, way back in history, let's say we look back 20 years, going back to early 2000s, we spent more time closer to 5% than we have closer to 3% with our interest rates. So things are coming back. We can look at that time frame during COVID, and obviously things down at historic lows, but now we're coming back to that more normal range. So on that point, looking at where our market meter is, we have gone from a 6.25 to a 5.77. Now, take that in comparison to where things were back in 2019, and we were closer to a 4.87 at this time of year. So, again, this is not a crash. This is a slowdown. And even last year, we were seeing things slow down at this time of year. Again, we're still outpacing where our market is in comparison to 2019. A good example that my business partner gave was, when you go outside at 75 degrees and then you get a few weeks of 100, when it cools back down to 75, it starts to feel chilly, but it's still 75 out there. So our market, although slower than we were last year, is still pretty reasonable in comparison to normal. So when we put that on our market meter, we are now in a stable or balanced market range right in here. So not really benefiting buyers or sellers all that much, as we're seeing a pretty similar number of buyers out there in comparison to sellers. So hopefully you found this information valuable. Again, like, share, subscribe to these videos. If you have any questions, you can always reach out. If you want to geek out more, check out our Twin Cities Real Estate Show. You can catch that on the CW23 Saturday mornings at 6:30 or at twincitiesrealestateshow.com. Take care and have a great week.